So hi, this is Erica. I know you've just been really tapping in and tuning into these beautiful interviews. I'm so joyful to be the person that brought them to you. It got given to me as it was just a divine thing. It was like, you'll do a love summit. My guest today, Sarah Ann, is so beautiful. She's a princess, goddess, warrior. She's so many things rolled into one. I can see the book that she wrote in right behind her on the shelf, The Energy of Happiness. I've adored Sarah for quite many years, and I'm just so blessed that she came to join us. Sarah, I don't even know where to start with us because you've chosen to be walking in a path of love. I mean, you've really changed everything to do this.
I think everything has changed me in order to do this, which is really, really, really cool. I love this whole concept. Like, I think you came to me and you said, this podcast is just taking on a life of its own, but it's all about what love is. And then you're like, love is everything. So I think that's what has happened. I've just kind of like opened myself up in order to receive the whole infinite expansiveness of love is everything. So I
Yeah.
think it changed me.
And for me, it was this awareness of love loving me even though I screw up all the time. It was like love loving me even though I've made such stupid mistakes. It was like that thing of like when you're born, the angels sing. It was that awareness that kind of just, it was kind of an awakening for me, you know?
Oh, you just opened up like a whole can of like beans. Like, because you have this love and then it's like unconditional. But then you have this thing called grace. And I think that's what you just talked about. Grace is like this undeserving love. It's the forever forgiving love. And it's, you just get it because you do. And it's
That's
beautiful.
it. You get it because you do. So you
Yeah.
don't have to be better. You don't have to be smarter. You don't have to be prettier. You don't have to be skinnier. Like that's the whole thing. It's just
Yeah.
this sense of that's what my book is too. It's like just love likes it when you dance. Like love is here. And just being here is enough. You don't have to get it all right. I think we get so confused when and one of my friends is the strangest thing I'm remembering, which he's like, women loved men if they were bringing home the bacon well enough because then they could take care of their kids and their family. So we're talking jillions of years ago. So there was this sort of like, but men would tend to love the woman as the mother kind of like forever no matter what. And
Mm.
so there was this kind of strange dichotomy in years gone by where the conditional love was given in order to perpetuate the species, I think, I mean, in some strange way. And so we don't really need to do that anymore. There's billions of people. We're like, cool. And so I wonder if our consciousness is shifting. I don't know. It's kind of a fun concept, isn't it?
Mm. Well, I totally believe that our consciousness is shifting. I think it's making room for more of us. And I think it's making room for more love. Um, I think it's shifting like moment to moment. It's like perpetuating and consistent. But I love the title of your new book, like Love Likes It When You Dance, because I think that, God, I remember when I lived in San Diego for 4 years, and there was this women's drumming circle, and they met every month. And I remember they were having their 20-year anniversary, and they met on a beach, and they were drumming for literally 3 hours. And I remember they started this drumming circle because there was a woman who had gotten diagnosed with cancer, and they wondered if drumming could like heal her. And and it's beautiful because she was there 20 years later, but you also recognize that there was love that brought these women together. There was love in the vibration of the drums.
Mm.
There was love in the movement. Women were able to like freely move and be who they were because they just were. Like it didn't matter what you did during these drumming circles. And I think that when we dance and we move, we are so open and we are so receptive to the healing guidance and like the
Yeah.
nurturing grace of love. I think that when you can fully let go and fully just kind of like move, you are just so raw and so authentic and so real, and that joy just is able to like illuminate from you. And I think that when we can allow ourselves to be that real, anybody can love us for any freaking reason. And I think that if your husband is bringing home the bacon for you just because he's married to you, the fact that maybe one night you might let it all loose or just be who you are can make anybody kind of love you. Do you like how that all kind of rolled all together? But it's true. I mean, honestly, I think love likes it when you dance because it's able to be around you more than any other time. And I love that when you are that, you're in that essence of joy, you feel that free, and you're just moving and doing and being what you are because it feels good to you. Anybody would pay you. Anybody would love you. Everybody wants to be around you. It's just gold.
Right. And but here's still something that's kind of sticking me. It's interesting that you brought up, because to me, like, it seems like there's this, like, you need to be an invitation to this, or you need to express this, or you need to do that. And I just want to tell kind of everyone who's listening, you're fine just right now, this instant. Like, love is here for you. Everyone who's listening right now, like, you don't have to get a prettier nose. You don't have to, like, make it to the next level. You don't have to, oh, you know what else? Oh my gosh, when people say, like, you're playing small, nothing bothers me more. Because it's like, we are so big, we are so infinite, and love is everywhere, and it's okay. I don't know. I get stuck on some of the things in my own circles of self-help entrepreneurs. I have a question for you, Sarah.
Yes.
So I'm just so blessed to come back into your life most recently, and I've observed you in this way of kind of like getting messages from Source, tuning into Source, and then being absolute. And maybe just share with our audience a little bit of what that requires of you, or how you came. I mean, you've always been guided, so it's not like it started yesterday, but it seems like it's just bigger now than it's ever been.
Oh, God, it's interesting that you, no, I think that's a good thing because Erica's helping me with my first podcast, and she doesn't know it, but last night I literally did like 4 episodes. And the episodes, they just roll off the tongue. I don't write anything.
Wow.
I literally just speak. And I could speak and I could be that way. And it's all perfect. Everything comes full circle. Everything makes sense. I don't repeat myself. There are no ums. Like, it's absolutely beautiful. Because I have allowed myself to believe and just receive the gift of validation. And as I receive and I recognize and I welcome and I am in this constant space of appreciation, I know now that what I've experienced is what I know it is. And so my level of faith and my level of trust is now like at this state of that certainty and of that knowing.
Insane. And I just want everyone to know that as you're sitting here, honestly, whether you're looking at us through the video or whether you're listening to us through the audio, you can actually mirror the neurons. You can actually connect to Sarah right now in this moment and experience a little bit of what she knows. And I just want to invite you into that space of trusting your knowing. And it's something that just turns things into magic, doesn't it? It just turns, it's an alchemy, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we could share a little bit about what happened this past week. as an example. Because,
Oh yeah, sure. Oh my gosh. Okay, you can share that. Oh
no, because can I? Because
yeah,
it's
that's okay.
so,
Yeah, that's fine.
it's such an amazing example. I think, we all have our like personal experiences that accumulate over time, and
Yeah.
it gets to a point where you just can't deny it. But
Yeah.
these beautiful, just absolute moments of ease is literally the magic of life that makes you want to get up every single day and be like, okay, how are you going to surprise me today? And so literally last week, I think it was last Sunday, I woke up and a mentor of mine started a podcast. Like, she's like, oh, this is my new project, blah, 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 blah. And I was on the way to the gym and I was listening to her first like 3 episodes. And I was like, oh my God, this is like super easy. Like, you don't have to do your hair, whatever.
Exactly.
And it's easy to listen. It's like
Right.
easy listening for me. Like one just goes
Yeah.
after the other. It's on my phone. I could download it if I want to. I could leave it there if I don't. It's just crazy easy.
Right.
And so I was literally thinking, I'm like, you know what? Maybe it's a time to like do a podcast. Like, I think that would be like super easy and manageable and I could have a lot of fun with it and just speak and just see where it goes. And then so I get out of the gym and I drive to Trader Joe's and I'm listening to this podcast and I'm like, I remember a couple of months ago, I got this random email from Erica Blessing, and I think she's doing these do-it-yourself podcasts, but I haven't heard from her in a while. Like, I wonder if like now is a good time, like whatever. So I go into Trader Joe's. This is like 20 minutes later, okay? Go to Trader Joe's. I come back. I'm in my car, and I see, and I'm going to say sure than shit. Like, shit is my word. Signs, help is there. See the signs and the love and the amazing stuff in the
Oh my gosh, there's a sign that says help is there.
The very first, well, I think that's what I use. That's my little acronym for shit.
Yeah.
A sign that help is there. But anyway, so I get in my car and I look at my phone and I got an email from Erica Blessing. I think it's time for you to do a podcast. And she's like, and there are other attorneys that are on this podcast. Or there are other attorneys that are doing this. Check it out. And she's like, actually, I'm rocking it. I got like 400,000 listens and all this stuff. I'm like, okay. Like that is just bizarre. Like 20 minutes.
And
20 minutes.
she
Whoa.
and literally, you guys, like, I was sitting here just kind of like working from home and like planning my next show, and I'm like, I need to send Sarah. I need to send Sarah, and I need to send her a note about this. And I mean, really, I don't think we'd spoken in a couple of years. It was so interesting.
Yes.
And I think, but then what happens is like when we're getting our inspiration and then we're asking, what could be the next step? What could be the next place? What could happen that would have this be even easier and even more fun? And
Right.
seriously, you guys, she actually built the show within a few days of that.
Yeah, I know. And paid right away. But the thing is, though.
That was nice too.
But it was nice for me too, because I didn't have to research. I didn't have to look. I had already worked with you. But the cool thing is this, that level of certainty.
But weren't you like in the shower when the show, like the concept of the show just started popping into your head? Or was that like?
No, I was in the shower when I received, this was like maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I was in the shower when I was told just to leave San Diego cold turkey and never turn back. And that is a level of certainty that like is.
Oh, right. Like, let's just leave everything in California and just move to the East Coast. Move home.
Just do it.
Yeah,
Just
that was
do it.
such a huge leap of faith. Oh my gosh.
Yes. But it's a
Wow.
level of certainty because of the validation that I was getting that was like, building up to that. It wasn't testing me. It was getting me ready. Abraham Hicks, she talks about being ready to get ready or getting ready to get ready. And I think that as wherever you are on your journey, when you decide to live in this light and with this love, and you just decide that now is the time, you will get everything you need just how you need it to help you recognize that you are ready to be ready, and you are ready now.
Wow.
And, it doesn't even matter if you understand that you're ready or if you believe that you're ready. Like, this podcast thing, I'm like, I don't even know what I'm going to talk about. And then I just sit down and I get what I'm going to talk about. Create 4 shows in literally 3 hours, like whatever. And another thing too is we were like, oh, what's the energy of the show and how long is each show? And I'm like, I think everything is like about 20, 25 minutes. And yeah, every one was like 20, 25 minutes.
It knew what it was.
It's perfect. But it's those synchronistic moments that are the ways that you could bolster your faith so that you could trust enough to follow through on what you know is true, so that love can really make the huge magnetic miraculous difference in your life. So that you believe.
What if you're kind of like one of my clients, I remember she's like, we were talking and she's just going through kind of a tough patch. She got a book shown to her that was her dad's story and she really wanted to work on it. And then she's like, the last 5 years have been so tough for me. How can, if someone's kind of going through that where they've maybe had a couple tough years, what can this do to help uplift, or what can people tap into, or maybe even an exercise of something sort that someone could do to kind of shift out of that space of, maybe not feeling worthy is what I'm getting from that audience. I can sometimes tap into the listeners.
No, I love it. I think that's great. All right. So angels, guides, teachers, and masters. What is because there's so many. So we are the ones that disconnect ourselves from our own well-being. Like love is like this fountain that just, it energizes you. It gives you life. It gives you light. It gives you health. It gives you wealth. It gives you nourishment. It gives you peace of mind. It gives you joy. It gives you every single thing that you could possibly need. Love is the life force, okay? And when you recognize and you feel any sort of lack or any kind of struggle or resistance or hardship, what you're noticing, what you are just acknowledging is the disconnect. And that is everything. Because when you're aware of that disconnect, you are gifted the moment of your ability to turn it on, to just say that it is on. I am love. Show me. And the beautiful thing that I've learned and I've seen time and time again is that this thing called grace and love just takes you where you are and uses your life experiences and uses your beliefs, takes you as you are, where you are, and teaches you and shows you and heals you and moves through you right as you are now. And you're right, you don't have to do anything. You just have to stay on. And by staying on, what I mean is that you just believe this whole idea that everything and anything that is happening in this moment right now is happening for your highest good and for everybody's highest good. And it's all continuing to work whether you know what's going on or not, which takes a huge burden off your shoulders.
Right.
Because there's this idea that you got to change your life and you got to make a change and you need to do all this stuff. And sometimes when you're in the thick of it and things feel so heavy and so burdensome and so overwhelming, sometimes what can help you turn it on is just knowing that all you have to do is believe that everything is working out for you, even what you're in right now. Just allowing yourself to know that this is working out for me. This is happening. This is all working in my favor. And that shift alone, just that mental shift, that different perception allows you to see what is working, allows you to get some stamina and some momentum so that you can
Right.
allow more of that to come in.
I had kind of a practical application of that today, so I'll share. It was kind of interesting. My daughter was choosing between two different water polo teams. And she
Okay.
has a coach that wants her to do one thing and her best friend wants her to do something else. And then our really good friend's mom was kind of interested in her doing something else. And so she was looking at these two different choices and she had all these things lining up on both sides of them. And I felt so good because I felt like I could say to her in truth, instead of weighing the pros and cons of both, I said, Maddie, when you know the right choice, it will be fine for everyone. When you solidly choose which team is better for your evolution, then everyone will be okay, whether you're not on the same team as this friend or on the same team as that friend or with that coach or like all these pressures pushing her and pulling her like the push me, pull you.
Yeah.
And I said, when you choose
Yeah.
and it's in your light and it's in your best interest, it's going to be different and it'll be fine for all of us. Because it's also like, for me, different drop up and pick up places and times and numbers of days of the
Okay.
week. And I just said, you know what,
Yeah.
just choose what's right for you. And I could see it when I said it, that it was true, that she would have an inner knowing and it
Yeah.
would guide her. And it really wouldn't be about any of those things she thought it was about. It was fascinating. I felt so
Yeah.
good as a mom to like be able to bring in some higher energy.
No, it's awesome. And we
Because
can all do that for ourselves.
the old me would be like, no, you can't do that one because I don't want to drive that far every night of the week. Like, I would just sort of be like, well, that one's out. And if you want to choose that one, like it just, but as I looked at the choices, I knew that if she actually chose for her, it would all unfold. It would be so expansive that all the things would get taken care of differently, right?
Yeah.
So maybe
No,
just
it's
talk
true.
a little bit to that, Sarah. If someone is being guided to choose something that feels kind of counterintuitive and they're worried about people, what they might think. I know you've been through this yourself in your own healing journey. What can you recommend for people who are kind of like getting whispers but are having a little bit of challenges like, you know, I have one of my friends, she goes, finding my Fiji, like finding where her place is.
Because she loves Fiji. That's where like she feels at home.
Yeah,
Like finding her haven.
yeah,
You know, that brings me to this whole idea of peace. When you are at peace, you could trust your guide. You could trust your intuition. You could trust your guidance. And I had somebody ask me the other day, like, how do you know you're making the right decision for you? And I think that if you can be honest with yourself and recognize whether you are in a state of peace or not, and only make a decision and choose and move forward on that guidance that you get when you're in a state of peace, and hold off if you recognize that there's any kind of agenda, motivation, or urgency or anything that is not peaceful, you know, hold off on making any decision. I think that you'll always be able to trust it, because the guidance that is love and that is in your highest and best good can come through to your heart, through to your gut, be felt in your entire being when you are in a state of peace. But if you're not in a state of peace, you have some energy in your being
right.
that is influencing you and pushing you to places where you'll likely be confused, where you'll likely not trust yourself, where you'll likely get down on yourself, because that energy needs you to stay there. So just recognize that sometimes pressing pause and getting yourself to a place of peace, taking some deep breaths and just checking in, and then asking, what is my guidance telling me? And then baby steps, put a little bit of that into motion, and then see
Right.
what shows up.
Right. I'll just say one more funny thing. When I was getting divorced, it wasn't that easy for me to choose that, and I resisted it a lot. And so, I don't know, it probably took me 5 years. It would have taken someone else like 5 months or 5 minutes. So
Okay.
I I got a thing, and I said, God, if I'm on the right track, put like an EG, which is my maiden name initials, because my old name used to be Ian. I said, put an EG like in a license plate. And just if I'm you know if I'm in alignment with God, if I'm getting messages and I'm doing what I'm I'm being shown with
Yeah.
source.
Yeah.
And to this day, I'll see sometimes I'll be questioning if I'm doing the right thing, and I'll see the EG on the license like right in front of me. It'll be in the license. And I've gotten that one time, oh my gosh, I was like, am I really supposed to get divorced? And I was driving past this freeway, like the big blockade in the middle where there's like a bridge over. And so there's a big, big, big like column holding the bridge over it up in the middle of two freeways. And there's an
Uh-huh.
E and a G, and they're like 4 feet tall each
I
on
love it.
like embedded into the cement for some reason.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, thank you, God.
It comes to you however you are open, willing, and available to receive it.
Yeah.
So you can be that specific with your angels, source, guidance, quantum, whatever you want to call it. You can be that specific and it will be that direct back.
Yeah.
Because
Crazy.
it's here to meet you where you are.
Yeah.
So true. I love those stories. I love the validation of it. I love, God, there's examples of this everywhere. It's just so comforting.
Yeah. Yeah, and thank you for all that about being connected. That was beautiful. And I know that people might want to learn more from you or hear from you more, or maybe take one of your workshops. Why don't you tell people how they can find you and what else is possible?
What else is possible? Well, you could find me at sarahaolette.com. That's my website, and you got blogs there galore. And you could also find me on Facebook, Sarah Ann, and on Instagram at 10 Sarah Ann. So
yeah, and
I'm
sometime within the couple weeks of this showing, her podcast will be live. So it's called She Shines, and it will be coming to iTunes and podcast directories everywhere.
Thanks to Erica Glessing.
Thank
Hark
you.
the Herald Angels sing. All right. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks
I
for
love you
coming.
all. Have an
Yeah.
amazing day.